Christian TikTok be like. You're struggling with lust? That means you're chosen. Since when did temptation become a prophecy? Like, wow, Satan must be working overtime on me because I'm so anointed. Bro, no. You're just alive. That's not a divine calling, that's a phone with Wi-Fi. The truth is, temptation isn't a sign you're some special spiritual warrior. It's a sign you're human. Everyone wrestles with lust and sin because of our fallen nature. It's universal. James 1 verse 14 says each person is tempted when they're dragged away by their own desire. That desire is inside you. Me, and all of us. It's part of our brokenness. But here's the good news, God calls everyone. Titus 2 verse 11 says God's grace has appeared, bringing salvation to all people. And 2 Peter 3 verse 9 reminds us, God doesn't want anyone to perish. So when you become aware of your sin, that's not because you're some spiritual elite. It's mercy. God is opening your eyes. Being chosen isn't about having worse temptations. It's about how you respond to God's grace. Jesus said, "Many are called, but few are chosen." The chosen are the ones who say yes, and keep saying yes, when God calls. Now let's look at how sin creeps in. Take Samson. He was a Nazirite, set apart by God with strict boundaries. No wine, no touching dead bodies, no cutting his hair. But Samson started ignoring those boundaries. He walked through vineyards even though he wasn't supposed to drink. Then he scooped honey out of a lion's carcass, something totally forbidden. He compromised little by little, thinking, it's no big deal. Just like when you're scrolling on your phone. Just chillin'. Then a video pops up, pretty girl dancing. You tell yourself, I'm just admiring the choreography, the transitions, the outfit. But slowly, you start watching more. You know where it's headed. And you end up in a place you promised God you wouldn't go again. Nobody dives straight into sin, they drift into it. Small justifications. Harmless excuses. That's how sin creeps in, through cracks we refuse to patch. Most people blame Delilah for Samson's downfall. But the truth is, his fall began long before her. When he started treating his calling like a suggestion, not a covenant. Then there's David. It was spring, the season when kings usually lead their armies into battle. But David stayed home. Idle. He should have been in the fight. Instead, he was on the roof. That's where he saw Bathsheba. And the rest, you know the story. Now be honest, this is familiar. This was supposed to be the hour you worked out. Or read your Bible. Or prayed. Or served at church. Or led your small group. Or reached out to someone who needed encouragement. But instead, you're just idle. You don't have a mission. You're not living with purpose. And that's when temptation slides in. David didn't fall because he was weak. He fell because he stopped showing up to the battle God had called him to lead. When we're not actively living out our purpose, temptation doesn't knock politely, it kicks the door wide open. And here's the dangerous twist. When people believe they're chosen because of their struggles, spiritual pride sneaks in. It says, I'm different. I'm deeper. I don't need correction. I don't need accountability. So we isolate. We avoid community. We stop listening. We start judging. And our hearts grow cold, just like Samson's slow compromises, just like David's idleness. So let's ask the real questions. Where are you justifying small sins like Samson? Where are you drifting idle like David? Where are you letting sin sneak in through the cracks? And if you're honest, where do you feel stuck and powerless to fight back? You're not alone. But here's the truth, holiness doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you take God's call seriously and fight like your life depends on it, because it does. And that's exactly why this is only part 1. Because knowing the problem isn't enough. Next time, we're going to get real about how God sees this sin, how he views the people who give themselves to it and how he longs to call them back. We'll talk about how to stand firm, how to fight lust, and how to actually walk in the freedom God calls us to. So stay tuned.